They don't know my story, they just know my sound.
Is the key to being successful in any business is making the decision and sticking with it.
I feel like I was pushed on purpose.
And I feel like I was in the birthing room.
Every single one of you have faced things in your life, have overcome things, and because of that, you have a responsibility to share your message with the world. And you have a responsibility to take those lessons that you've learned and use it to help other people.
Welcome to the Birthing Experience, where we help coaches birth their mastery. I'm your host, Nyala, the Master Midwife for Coaches, and I'm super excited because we are here for another episode. Here at the Birthing Experience, all we do is focus on helping you push, plan, prep, and produce your mastery, okay? So today we're going to be talking about the ultimate advice for every coach who's not getting enough clients. All right, the ultimate advice for every coach who's not getting enough clients, okay? I really like to talk a lot about client acquisition because I feel that so many coaches focus on the content piece, which is important, but they end up stuck putting out a whole lot of content, but not focusing on exactly how am I going to bring clients into my business? Exactly how am I going to increase my income, okay? So I'm going to be talking about 3 different points today. What I really want to do, or what I would say my biggest goal is to really help you save time. Okay, so that's number 1, help you save time. Number 2, really give you clarity on what you should be focusing on. Because again, like I said, many of you are focusing so much on creating content that you are not focused on your systems. You are not focused on the clientele. You are running out of resources. You are running out of time because you're focused on the wrong thing. So I want to give you some clarity. But then another thing is I want to help position you so you can grow faster. Because again, if you are not focused on the right things, then that means that things, you're moving slow. Even though it feels like you're working hard, right? Even though you feel like you're overworking, the business is moving slow because you're focused on the wrong thing. So that's my big goal for this episode. Again, if you are new, if this is your first time being on our live episode or hearing us on our podcast network, please leave a comment below. Tell me your name, tell me where you're tuning in from, tell me what you do, and even drop your website. So that way anybody else that comes and watch the replay, they can see everything about you as well, okay? Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you share this out, and let's jump into the good stuff, okay? So first, let's tackle the first problem, which is you being stuck consistently creating content and creating new programs, but not seeing the results that you're looking for, not being able to consistently sign clients, not being able to attract the right people to you, not being able to really get to at least a 5-figure a month mark in your income. Because I believe that that's where you start to see a dent in your business, right? When you can get to 5 figures a month, that, at least for me, that's when I was able to start investing in places that I wanted to. That's when I was able to take vacations. That's when I was able to do more of what I wanted to do and less of what I needed to do. Does that make sense? So first problem we're going to talk about is you consistently working on the wrong things. And the reason why I believe this happens to most coaches and what I see is that it's your messaging. Okay, it's your messaging. So if you are someone that's consistently, posting content, but no one is really biting on that content, then it's probably the messaging. Another thing it can be is really who you're putting your content in front of, right? So it's really either it's the message, it's not speaking to the pain points, it's not, touching emotionally with your ideal clients. It could be that, but it could also be that you're putting it in the wrong places, all right? So you really have to pay attention to and have more intention to where this content is going out. right? So I want to give you like a big pat on the back, because the fact that you are creating, that's important. I know for me, what I'm sharing with you today, I didn't know. So I was someone that spent a lot of years creating, which actually made, became a blessing for me later on, because when it was time for me to start creating products, I had so much content that I can create products with. So sometimes, you could turn that stuff, that chaos, into money for you. However, if you can get results faster and without having to overwork and without having to continue creating without intention, then that's really what I want for you, okay? So you first have to make sure that your message is really speaking to your ideal clients. You also have to make sure that your message is unique, all right? Because in my years of being a coach, right, what I found is that this industry is saturated. That's it, right? So there are so many people who are coaching. There are so many people who are doing what you're doing. So you have to really be conscious about, implementing different strategies in your business that's going to set you apart, right? And that first strategy should be really crafting a unique message, because when you do that, those people will gravitate to you. Okay, those people will gravitate to you. Another thing, which is actually coming to me right now, is really being able to clearly articulate what you do. This is really important. So I know for me, in the beginning, I really didn't know what I did. So I just would say, I help people grow on social media, right? Which that is not unique at all. But that's what I knew, so I just said it. And with time, I realized the importance of messaging, and I started to dig into my story. I started working with people that can help me bring that messaging out so I can continue to set myself apart. Now, before we continue, one thing I want to make sure I say is that your messaging is not just going to come out flat like that. I think sometimes people feel like, well, when I start out, I'm just going to know everything. Everything's going to be set. I'm going to know who the client is. I know what problems. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to start with a unique message that you have, run with it, and then your business will start to evolve into what it's going to be through your growth. And that's one of the things that I found on my journey, right? So yeah, check your messaging, okay? Also make sure that you are promoting in the right places. Be really clear on who this ideal client is for you and where they are hanging out at. Because a lot of times you're posting in the wrong places, or you're not posting enough. Okay, and you know what, let me just give you an example of what that looks like. Let's say you are someone that live streams a lot, but you notice that your views are not getting anywhere. Well, that's an indication that you need to start sharing your videos more places. That's an indication that maybe you need to get some paid traffic to that video, those videos, if you are ready for that, right? That's an indication that you have to start thinking about some strategies that's going to get more eyes on your stuff. So instead of focusing on creating, let's focus on bringing some people to see what we already have. And that's that right shift right there can do so much for you, okay? So again, I want to make sure that I'm not saying that you shouldn't be creating, but what I'm saying is make sure you're creating with intention and make sure you're using what you're creating. So that's a really good example on what's happening with a lot of coaches right now. It's like I'm posting, but people are not seeing it. Then that's an indication that there's some strategy that you need to think about when it comes to audience building. Okay. All right. So number two, the second problem that you're having, and really you're having this problem because of one, so it kind of ties together, which is you're not getting enough clients. And in my experience, the reason why this is happening is because you don't have a system, a marketing system. Okay. So and let's use the example of live streaming again. I speak to coaches all the time, okay? I no longer hear this as much because a lot has changed in my own business, so I've started to attract a different type of client. But I remember a couple years ago, I would be doing coaching, and this is something I would hear a lot, which is I do a lot of live streaming, because live streaming is really big in our industry, right? So I'm doing a lot of live streaming. However, I'm really still not getting clients, and I'm not really giving a call to action because I really don't even have nothing to give, right? I really don't have anything to give. And that's the first thing, is not having a system that you can send people through. If I'm gonna sit here, like I have a couple of things to share with you today. If I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna teach and I'm gonna give you good value and I'm gonna help you in the places where you're struggling, I gotta keep that going, right? So let's stop for a minute and let me give you my first gift. I have the Master Your Message workbook. It's a free workbook that helps you put together your message. And I usually never offer a couple of things on one episode, but I'm doing this because I know that if you are struggling in these places and you spend just a little bit more time in these areas, you'll see dramatic growth in your business, okay? So I have the Master Your Message workbook. It's absolutely free. I'll make sure that I leave it somewhere around the video for you so you can get that, all right? So that's one thing to pull aside. So let's get back to the marketing system. It's really important for you to have a marketing system. Really important for when you are putting your content out, whether it's paid content, whether it's organic content, when you're sharing your content, you have to be able to give a call to action to take people to the next steps, okay? Because what will happen again is you'll find yourself, as I said, it's tied in with number one. You'll find yourself doing a lot of creating, but you're not seeing action because you haven't created an atmosphere for action. And I believe that that's what your marketing system does for you. It helps you create an atmosphere for action. And another word for it can be a client acquisition system, right? A client acquisition system, a automated system that's set up. So when you're here and you're speaking, like for example, the workbook, I just offered you the Master Your Message workbook. That is a system, right? So anybody, you're going to get this workbook, yes, and it's going to be good, right? But you are now being put in a system where I can teach you and I can continue to send you value. And when you are ready, if you qualify, then hey, you'll be my client one day. And it is important for you to have those systems because that way you don't have to be, spending a lot of intentional, time. I feel like not even intentional, it's more unintentional. Right? So it's like I'm spending a lot of time doing live streams, doing blogging, I'm spending a lot of time creating graphics, scheduling social media. I'm spending a lot of time, posting in Facebook groups every day. I'm doing all of this, but it's not really bringing me anything. And that's because you don't have any system. So that way, what you're doing, you can push people into the journey to becoming your client. Okay, so if you're someone who is in that position, then here's what I want to invite you to, which is my free workshop. It's happening tomorrow, where I'm going to be showing you on the whiteboard. So it's not going to be a webinar, PowerPoint slides, or anything like that. We actually are going to be on the whiteboard tomorrow night, and I'll be showing you my marketing funnel. Okay, I'll be showing you my coaching formula and what I do to be able to get products, sell my products, fill up my services, and book out my calendar on autopilot, okay? So even right now, everything that I do, even if I'm gonna spend, 20 minutes here with you or 15 minutes here with you, giving some content, this is intentional work for me. Do you get what I'm saying? This is intentional work for me because anyone who is listening to me and you're struggling with not getting clients, you're struggling with your messaging, you want to be able to grow and scale your coaching business, then you're going to find what I'm saying useful. And because I have the right system set up, it is going to work for me behind the scenes, okay? And in addition to that, being able to make money while you sleep is the ultimate. Being able to wake up and see appointments on your calendar and know that if you speak to 3 people today, you may sign 2 of them into a premium program, and that could be your income for the month. Being able to have that power, because that's what that is, being able to have that predictability in your business, it is important, right? So if you're someone who wants that, again, click the link, register for our free workshop because I'm going to be breaking down my funnel for you tomorrow night, and you'll get to see what that looks like so you can implement it for yourself. All right. Now, there's one more thing that I want to talk about before I leave you guys today, and that's really community. Okay. Because another thing that I found is that a lot of people are not yet in a position to start using paid advertising. And those people are the people who I believe need to focus a lot on their community, being able to implement strategies that will, it's like my daughter. I always tell my daughter, we had this conversation the other day, and she's like, Mom, can you go and make me some eggs? No, she wanted an omelet, right? I really didn't want to go upstairs. So I said, okay, I'll make it for you, but you come with me and you cut the tomatoes and the onions and the spinach and I'll do the rest, right? And she's like, why, Mom? And I was like, what did I say? 4 hands are better than 2, right? And that's something that I always say to my children. It's something that I believe in business as well, that me sharing my video, for example, versus 5 of my audience sharing it, audience members sharing it with me, hey, that's 6 people. Do you know how many views my video can get because I'm able to tap into my community? Right? And when I say tap into my community, I wouldn't be able to tap into my community if I wasn't focused on growing a community. And I think that that is going to be another place where you're going to want to focus right now. This is where you're going to want to focus. These are the 3 places that you want to focus in that order. Okay, so get your message right. Make sure you have a marketing funnel set up so that way you can consistently get clients booking on your calendar, consistently selling out products so you can start to scale, so you can start to use paid advertising if you haven't yet, because that's where the real freedom comes, right? And then also growing your community, because without community, you do not have a business. Without a network, you do not have a business. You would not go far. Okay, without being able to, not only have your clients, but you have your peers, you have your affiliates, you have people who support you, you have your referral network. These are very important aspects of your business if you want to grow. All right, so I'm going to recap, but if you have not shared this out yet, definitely share this out. Again, if you're watching us on our podcast network, thank you so much for being a listener. We are always open to having questions. Matter of fact, I want you guys to give me your questions because that's going to help me bring you the right information. So I want you guys to bring me your questions, but also comment below. Let me know if this was useful for you. Let me know if you are a coach right now that's right here in this position, and if what I'm sharing for you with you right now is going to be valuable for you, okay? So let's recap this one more time. So the first thing that I want you to really focus on, and again, I believe that what I'm sharing with you today is the ultimate advice. It would be easy for me to give you marketing strategies. I can, right? I can tell you all those things, but these 3 right here, if you don't have it, you will continue to stay stuck or overwhelmed, okay? So number 1 is your message. Your message is very important. Your message is number 1, okay? And your story is actually a part of your message. That's how people attract to you. That's how you captivate your audience. And if you find yourself putting out a lot of content and no one is biting, it's because you haven't reached them. The message is off. Your messaging is off. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is having a marketing funnel, an automated, and when I say a marketing funnel, I want to make sure I let you know, because I'm like anti complicated funnels. I'm just not about that when it comes to coaching. We are service professionals. We provide transformational products and services, and I truly believe that, those complicated sales funnels, it only keeps you stuck. It only keeps you stuck. But there are coaching funnels that you can create that's specifically designed for coaches and service professionals. And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you in my workshop tomorrow night. So make sure you guys register for that. So number 1, message. Number 2, marketing funnel. And number 3 is not having a community. Because remember, the big problem here that you guys are struggling with is really not getting enough clients, right? And how can you, of course, you're going to continue to create content. You have nobody to share this content with. Of course, you're creating programs and you're not getting enough people to join because you don't have anybody to sell the programs to. So growing your audience and growing your community is a big part of your business, and that's where your focus should be. That is where your focus should be. Okay. All right, guys. So I really, really want to thank you for joining me for another episode of The Birthing Experience. If you have not shared this out yet, definitely take a moment to share this out now. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on all the podcast networks like Stitcher and iTunes. You can also find us at The Birthing Experience Show on Instagram and thebirthingexperienceshow.com on Facebook. All right. And this is where, we're giving you content all to help you master your mindset, your marketing, your messaging, and your money, because those are the 4 parts that you as a coach has to be able to master if you want to get to the 6-figure level and beyond. And if you want to be able to impact people, right? Because I feel like if your mindset is off, how can you impact people, right? If you're struggling with money, how can you impact people, right? If your messaging is off, you can't attract people. So I feel like these 4 pieces, which my whole brand is built on, this is what I specialize in, and these are the places where you should be focusing on if you want to grow your business. So I enjoy coming and bringing this content, you know, to you every week. So if you loved it, share it out. Make sure you leave a comment below, and make sure you tune in again next week for another episode of the Birthing Experience. Again, my name is Nyala Phillip, the Master Midwife for Coaches, and I'll see you next week.